Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 19th of July. We continue the exciting saga of Joshua in the book of Joshua and his battle to take Jericho, and today looking at his battle, and it was a battle, to take the nearby city of Ai. But let's go back over the weekend. Our last little sharing was on Friday, and we now encounter the destruction of Jericho. This has happened over the weekend, and I believe God had consecrated the city to himself, the destruction thereof. And so a very strong instruction is given on exactly how the city is to be destroyed, and of course that there was to be no plunder taken. Absolutely everything was to be left in the city. It was to be consecrated back to God. The first major military battle was to be very firmly the Lord's. Those were the instructions. And if you think back to that stranger that Joshua met on the road to Jericho, who simply said, "I'm neither for you or against you. I am the commander of the Lord's army." And he was saying, in effect, this whole battle is God's battle. And you, Joshua, and your army become, by our invitation, part of that battle. And that lesson we learned there was that God is in control. He will tell us what to do, not us telling God what to do. At times we can take initiative, yes, but ultimately God is in control, and God always has the veto. A very important lesson for Joshua and Israel to learn, and an important lesson for us to learn. So after Jericho falls, Joshua sends spies immediately to go and spy out the city of Ai. They come back and say this will be an easy military defeat. Surely we do not need to send the entire army. We only need to send a much smaller number, and the city will be ours. And Joshua believes the men. Now, whether they were militarily right or wrong is actually besides the point, because something had happened in Jericho. So Joshua is unaware of this, so he agrees to the advice given, and the men go out and they are routed. This tiny army is routed, and a number of them die. Joshua is devastated. The new leader just had one incredible military success. Now he's faced his first defeat. He falls down before God and cries out to God for an explanation and for advice on how to go forward. And God meets with Joshua, tells him to stand up, and says a great sin has been committed, and you are to call the tribes forward one by one, and I will show you the tribe who is to be selected. And then you are to select all the family groups from within that tribe, and I'll show you which family group. And then you are to go through that family group, and I will show you which particular family to bring out. And slowly, God sifts through the people until one man is left standing, as it were. And he knows that he is guilty, and he confesses. He took plunder from the city of Jericho, expressly against the wishes of his commander Joshua, and expressly against the wishes of God, who is ultimately the commander. And so the man is put to death, him and his family. Quite a rough justice, but a good lesson. God is in control. It's not for us to tell God what to do. We have no veto rights. God does not come and negotiate with us. Maybe he can and does sometimes, but it's not for us to demand an interview with God and to tell God what to do so that we can somehow gain from this. No. God is in control. Let God be in control. After this man is killed and punished for his sin, he had taken some silver, various other artifacts, and including a very fancy robe from Babylon. God says to Joshua, now go out and attack Ai. And interestingly, God now gives a very clear instruction. There is to be an ambush. The whole army is to be involved. And Joshua does exactly what God says. And Ai is taken entirely, with the loss pretty much of no men, except for the men of Ai, who are thoroughly defeated and totally destroyed, and the city is put to the fire. And yet God says, now they may take plunder. So that Jericho consecrated to God, let God have what God wants. Don't hold back from God. It's going to get you into trouble. And God is generous. After you've given to God what belongs to God, God will give to you what he discerns and decides is right for you. So a good learning that we are to obey God. Our lives are not our lives so much as God's lives, and we are committed and dedicated to him as a living sacrifice. Romans chapter 12 speaks of that, especially those first two verses. We offer ourselves to God as a living sacrifice. Let God be God, and let us follow and obey him. Folks, have a wonderful day. We'll chat again tomorrow. God bless.